Now we do part A.2 Description of an algorithm. So this time we try to understand algorithms from a different angle, another angle. All right. First goal, the same as before. We just repeat it. Find a solution for a computing problem. All right. But how to find a solution? So we want to look at that technical details this time. Need a precisely defined procedure to get the answer. So this precisely defined procedure, all right, so that's the same thing as we said in the previous video, step-by-step procedure. Yeah, the same thing, all right. But now let's zoom in on this part. Yeah. What kind of details in this procedure? First, we need to have step-by-step implementation details. Yeah. But how to show it? How to display the detail information? Right? We use flowchart. So typical flowchart. Each block represents one task. Then the order, the first, second, so there is a flow to guide the whole procedure, right? Yeah. Then each step can be represented in code. Eventually, you need to convert each step in pseudocode first. Finally, computer program. So finally, you need to write computer high-level language code. Yeah. So like this. Yeah. Then you do testing, fixing problems, so you complete the solution. Yeah. So that's the procedure detail. Yeah. What is an algorithm? So you can see this question we ask ourselves again and again. The reason we do not repeat the same thing again and again from different angles. Okay? Yeah. For the same problem, because this problem is a very big one. So we want to look at from all those different angles. So this time we look at from another angle, a sequence of instructions. To get an algorithm, you need to provide a sequence of instructions with some important property, unambiguous. Instructions should not be ambiguous. Yeah. So this way, that way. So you need to describe it in a clear way. Right? Yeah. Second, the input. You need to satisfy some condition for your input. Should be legitimate. Yeah. You need to make sure your input satisfies the required business condition. Here we are talking about computing problems in the business world. So the conditions, very important. So we can treat this step as the data validation step. Okay, yeah. Output requirement. Required format. So your customers, they have their own concerns. So you need to take care of their concerns. You need to make your output, that's the solution, the result of the solution, make them follow the customer's requirements. So that's important. Okay? Another important aspect, execution time. What's the condition on the execution time? finite amount. The number should be a finite number. Should not be infinite number. The program cannot terminate. Keeps running forever. But that's the minimum requirement. So even the program can terminate, but it takes a long time. Still not very good. So here I like to add an extra requirement, acceptable to users. The performance, the response time should be acceptable to the users. If it is too slow, even you solve the problem, but your customers can reject the solution. Your customers won't pay you for the solution. Because too slow. Sometimes the response, many times, the response time is extremely important. All right. Now, so let's try to learn from, different angles still. How to get an algorithm. We know it's important, but how do you get it? Learn the details in this course. So I will teach you how to do that. The details, all in this course. I want to emphasize the most important thing to be successful in this course: thinking. Relying on our brain. Thinking. But there are many rules, ways, methods we need to learn how to think. So when you design algorithms, you need to know how to think. All right. How important is thinking in problem solving? We know it's very important. Extremely important. Let's look at that a little more with a little more details. This is a picture of AI thinking. Machine. So this one gives you the impression it's not a human, it's an AI, right? Artificial figure, AI thinking. So here, why we use AI story here? Another time, in our previous video, we show that AI successful story in chess game. Now, another interesting AI story, because it is an exciting story. So I want to give you another exciting story. So big. So we should know it. And AI means algorithms. So what's the AI? The essence of AI is algorithms. So that's why we talk a lot about AI. We can even write AI equals algorithms. So that important. All right. In AI, when we develop our algorithms, basically the programmers, designers, they try to simulate human thinking. If you can simulate successfully, you will solve the problem in a successful way. Here I use AI Go game. Go. I don't know if any of you heard of this name of the game. Go. The name is Go. What's that? Let me show you pictures. Have you seen this before? Go game. So that's an ancient Chinese board game. Ancient. So old, more than 2,500 years history. That long history. So it is a very complicated, fun game. Yeah. All right. And yeah, here let me say a few words about the background of the Go game. 2 players. One plays black stones, another one white stones. The one with the black stones plays first, moves first. Okay, so white player second, take turns. Every time one piece, drop one piece on the board. The board is a 19 by 19 grid. Okay, so you put the stones on the grid points. Yeah. How to determine winner loser? The one who occupies more territory on the board. So there are some, there is certain way to calculate the points controlled by the stones. Yeah. So finally, at the end, the one who controls more points on the board wins the game. So that's simple. But I do not want to talk about the rules. Too complicated. So complicated. Yeah. So if you are interested, you can do some research on the web. Yeah. All right. Now I want to compare the complexity of the Go game and the chess game. Chess game, we know it's extremely complicated, but this Go game even much more complicated than the chess game. We compare using the legal board positions, because there are many large number of board positions that are not legal. So we should exclude them from the consideration. For example, for the chess game, can you place 2 bishops in the same color square? We cannot. So one in black square, another in white square, right? So there are so many legal, so many illegal board positions you should exclude from the considerations. So after we do that, if we only look at the legal board positions for chess, there are 10 to the 43th, this big number positions, legal positions. How about the Go game? 2 times 10 to the 170. This huge number. How much bigger? So you can take the ratio, you cannot imagine how much bigger than that. Here you see these 2 big numbers, but usually people do not have any sense how big is this number. Because on paper, it is just a representation. How do you feel about this big number? Here I want to use a reference so you can feel about it. The reference I use, the number of atoms in observable universe. The universe, observable. If you use the telescope, you can try to view everything in the universe, observable universe. How many atoms are in the observable universe? The scientists estimate this number, 10 to the 80th power, this number. You can see the legal positions of the Go game much larger than this number. We know this is a huge number. So you can feel about it. In such a big number, the larger that number, the more difficult that game. So now you can understand how difficult it is. But AI can handle it. so powerful. You can see AI, that means the algorithm. So the designers of the chess program, AI program, algorithms can handle that huge number of legal positions. So let's look at the result. Okay? The result, exciting. That story, so exciting. Let me talk about a little bit. AI milestone. AI program beat human champion 4 years ago. Let me show the picture, this picture. 4 years ago. So look at the time of the event. March 2016 from 8th to 15th, about 1 week. So 1 week period. Big event in human history. So I'm very lucky, so I follow the whole event. All right. AI program is called Alphago. So the Google's AI program, so they create this name, Alphago. Go, Alpha. Okay? Yeah. It was developed by a British company, DeepMind. So remember the name? Deep Blue, IBM, right? Yeah, because the founder of this company, DeepMind, he was a fan of chess. Actually, he can play very well the chess game. Yeah. He definitely got the influence from the IBM Deep Blue. So he created his companies with the name DeepMind. Very interesting. It's a good game, a good name for the company. Yeah. Google bought the company 2 years ago with respect to 2016, only 2 years ago, before that big event. Okay? Because Google had huge amount of computing resource. Okay? And Google also had a lot of AI engineers. Okay? So quickly, the DeepMind reached a level that can challenge human champion. That fast. In about 2 years. How can you imagine that? Okay. All right. Human player, Lee Sedol from South Korea. At that time, he had won 14 world champions. 14 world champions. That's a big number. Yeah. Definitely, he can represent the top level human players. Nobody argues with that. Okay. Although he may not be in his prime time, in 30s, 33. Yeah, as I remember, he was 33 at that time. Usually, for a Go player, 33 already not in the prime time. Yeah, usually around 20s. Yeah, younger, older, a few years around 20. That's the prime time. Yeah. Anyway, he's still among the top 10 at that time. Yeah, Lee Sedol. Yeah. The rules play 5 games. No matter win or lose, the two sides must play 5 games with $1 million prize. Okay. Each game lasts approximately 5 hours. Because two sides, 2 hours, clock, right? Using the clock control 2 hours. But then, still, everyone must play within 1 minute. After 2 hours, then you have to make a move within 1 minute. So the duration, so if you put together approximately 5 hours for the whole game. So I follow every minute of the 5 games. So I spent 25 hours. At the night, after midnight, think about it, because the event was organized in Seoul, South Korea, the capital, Seoul. Okay? Yep. So the time difference. Yeah. They play at noon, but it's our midnight. But it's so important for me, so I still follow all the 25 hours. Yeah. The result, 4-1. Alphago, the winner. Yeah. So here you can see the game 4. Alphago lost to Lisa Do at the game 4. White won. White Lisa Do. The white. Okay. But that was not a convincing game. That was a bad game, horrible game. Alphago, at a certain point, already led Lisa Do big margin, huge margin, with respect to controlled territory, huge margin. Suddenly, Alphago collapsed. Suddenly collapsed. That means make horrible moves. Make horrible 5 consecutive moves and gave that game away to Lisa Do. So I treat that as cheating, reverse cheating. Reverse, gave the game away to the opponent. Why? Because at that time it was already 3-0. If Alphago beat the Lisa Do another time, Lisa Do will give up, So then the 5th game will be, meaningless. So Alphago intentionally gave that game away, so the 5th game still, interesting. Yeah, still, people still are interested in the 5th game. Otherwise, no interest. Nobody wants to watch the 5th game. Yeah. But anyway, so I treat this like a political decision. So it's not a ethical, move. Yeah. Anyway, because later Alphago demonstrate a real power to the community, to the Go community. In that year, the same year, the end of year, around the Christmas time, Alphago played with professional human players online, using online platform. The result, surprising result, 60-0. 60-0. That's the real, strength of the Alphago. Yeah. He used the master, he changed his name from Alphago to master. But the same team. Yeah. Same team. Yeah. Control behind it. Yeah. All right. The algorithm. So let's get back to the algorithm topic, because the whole thing behind it, algorithm. That algorithm was published in Nature magazine, highly prestigious magazine in scientific community. Nature, top level, prestigious. So they published that one, Nature magazine, and they used the deep learning. So the main method they use, deep learning. Now, I can post this paper in Canvas. So if some of you are interested in it, so you can download and read. It's not easy to understand. Even for me, it's not easy to understand. Yeah. Yeah. But that is a really important paper, very influential to the scientific community. huge milestone. Some people even compare it, this milestone, with human landing on the moon. Landing on the moon, that big. But in some people's opinion, yeah. But anyway, it is a big one, really big one. All right, so that's our part 8.2. Yeah. After this, we will study the details of our algorithms. All right.